That's right. Sorry, thank you for doing this again.
No problem, mate.
I
No,
couldn't believe it. I was devastated when I realized that they were gone.
oh, no problem, mate. I'm very pleased to be out to see you again. And you
Uh,
didn't
just,
press the record button. What's that all
no, I
about?
couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Hello. How's
Oh,
that?
that doesn't work. Oh dear.
Hey, let me try and change microphones.
All right, mate. Plus, you've got a very strong accent as well.
I
So
know it's very valid. Yeah.
that's that very up the Welsh, up the hills, mate. You know.
How's that, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's fine. That should be fine. Let me turn my volume up a little bit. So, how's things with you, mate?
Yes, I'm very good, thank you. I mean, yeah, I did Twisted Sister yesterday.
You did? Do you
Yeah,
speak to Dee Snyder?
JJ French, I spoke to.
Oh, you spoke to JJ. Yeah, how
Yeah,
was he doing?
yeah, he mentioned you.
Did he really?
Yeah, you said he's friends with you, right? And I was like, yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah.
interviewed me, and my microphone wasn't recording. I was like, yeah. Yeah,
Oh, no, they're great. I mean, they toured way back in the 80s with us, you know, and AJ was alive, bless his heart, you know, rest his
yeah,
soul. He was, they were all great people, Eddie and JJ and Marco. They were all great friends, you know. We became very tight,
yeah,
which was nice, you know, when you have a support band or I say a band that's opening up for you.
yeah,
It's always nice when they're great people. We've been blessed to have um, probably the best opening bands and special guests over the years.
yeah.
People that don't like rub you up the wrong way
You
or
know,
are just complete dicks. You know.
yeah, it's hard sometimes, isn't it, when you're touring together? Because, I
Yeah.
mean, you spend a lot of time together, I should imagine.
Well, you know the time probably is spent more when you're at the venue.
Yeah,
You're obviously traveling separately, so you know in the days when we used to do sound checks, there was a lot more interaction with your special guests because we
yeah,
would do the sound. We'd have to do that sound check before they put their equipment on stage. So we'd be down at the venue early and having lunch, or over the years we stopped doing sound checks.
yeah,
Primarily, the main reason was because we'd spend like an hour and a half on getting the sound up and running the
yeah, yeah,
getting the monitors, so, everything else with an empty room,
yeah,
right? And then in the evening time, when there's like 5,000 or 2,000 kids or 500 people in a bar,
yeah.
no matter where you were, the ambient temperature increases. There's loads of bodies shaking up, and we went. Where's the sound gone that we had this
This is
afternoon when there was no one in the room?
yes, not in there. Right, that's right.
So we decided we we had the older road crew, like my drum tech plays drums. He's a pretty good drummer.
Yeah,
Uh, Michael Kenny plays bass and keyboards, and Sean and all the guys on the back line looking after all the guitar players. They all play.
yeah.
So they've got a band called Dark Twat,
All right.
right?
Okay.
And they go up and they run like, Highway to Hell's their chosen song to play. So they
Yeah,
do a good version of that. And we basically, they're doing the line check. Because
yeah,
once you've got everything set, it's pretty much, you don't have to fiddle around with it too much for on stage monitors.
there.
So, that we knocked doing the sound checks on the head a long time ago. So that kind of then, you wouldn't really get a lot of time to see and hang out.
With the
Maybe
other
after the
bandmate.
show, yeah. If you're staying in the same town for a night or two,
Yeah,
you could, that's when you'd get together with your special guest bands and socialize a little bit. But in the old days, it was a lot, especially when Twisted were out with us. We were like, party
yeah.
animals, a lot of us.
But that was the 70s, wasn't it? 70s and 80s, like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it was definitely different in the old days. We go, oh, was it a good old days? You know.
You were speaking to me about meeting David Bowie and things like that. And
Oh, he did?
yeah, to me, like, that's an amazing time, isn't it? You know, so the
Yeah.
70s, like, these are legends, aren't they? You know?
Oh my gosh, David Bowie. I'd never met him, and gosh, what a songwriter, my lord. I mean, that Space Oddity was one of the first tracks that completely blew my mind. You
Yeah.
know, it was just such a great tune, and he was a prolific songwriter. You know, and I would love to have met him. I never met him myself personally.
Have you met any of your metal heroes?
Yeah, I met Ringo Starr a
Oh,
couple of years ago. He did a show down here at the Parker Playhouse, and must be about 3 or 4 years ago. All pre-pandemic shit, obviously,
yeah,
and it was Ringo's all-star band, Steve Lukather and
yeah.
Greg Bissonette playing, and a bunch of other guys, wonderful musicians, and I actually met him. He was my first pin-up. I told him all about it. I said, I had a big picture of you up on the wall. I said, what were the size of your symbol on your hi hat? And he looked at me, he went, because he's quite short, he looked up and says,
They're tiny.
I've got no clue, Nick. And I went, oh, well, I think they were 15-inch hi hats, super zip, before he had Zildjian. Anyway, he was really, I met Paul McCartney many, many years ago.
That's better. Yeah.
There was an EMI convention in Brighton, and the
Yeah.
EMI conventions in the old days. I say the old days because these were the good old days. This
Yeah,
was
they will
before
certainly.
CDs took over, and the record companies ended up disappearing.
Yeah.
Pre-social media buying platforms and stuff. Right. Anyway, so EMI every year had a convention where all their A&R guys and their top people from around the world, they would fly in,
Yeah.
and they would have a convention, and it was lovely. And some of the bands would play that were EMI artists. Anyway, this particular event, um, I think it was around about 88, 89. Linda was still with us,
Yeah.
and we went to this event, all the band, and we were in Rod and Andy, and
Yeah.
wandering around. All of a sudden, I get this tug on my arm, and it's Linda, and she goes, "Oh my God!" She said, "I can't believe I found. Come with me." And she's dragged me by my arm. Excuse me, excuse me. All these people in this room. By now, everybody was surrounding Sir Paul.
Yeah.
And she's going, coming through, make a hole, excuse me, excuse me. And she's taken me straight up to Paul McCartney. She says, look who I found. And I went, oh, I was like speechless, which is very difficult to
Yeah,
for me being speechless for once in my life. And she said, look who I found. And she said, and Paul was very gracious. He said, hello, Nick, how are you? He said, I look at your picture. My kids are massive Iron Maiden fans, and especially Nicko fans. And there's pictures on the wall every day we go into our kids' room and we see your face. I was like, oh, great. So that was that was very special. But meeting Ringo was my first hero. So that was very, very special for me.
It's mad to see you inspired, like. It really is. I mean, you're an Iron Maiden, like, and it's incredible to see you inspired by the Beatles, like,
Well, I have a better understanding and grasp what it means to people when they meet me.
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta be honest. Everyone in Maiden is very humble. We know we have great success. We know we're a very famous rock band.
Yeah.
But we don't see ourselves like that. And when we get somebody come up with this effervescence of enthusiasm and excitement to say, oh my gosh, I can't believe, I met you, inspired me, or that's the best accolade I actually find, is when people come up and say that, they started playing an instrument because of your influence. Like I started playing the drums. I listened to you when I was 9 years old or something, and they're not like a copy of me as such. That a very dear friend of mine whom I influenced and was at Achilles Priester. He a phenomenal drummer, massively good player. 2 bass drums. He's got all this incredible bass. And he said, you know, it was through you that I started playing. You're my hero. And I'm like, well, okay, you know, I don't see myself like that, but I can actually understand it because that's how, you know, when I saw Paul, especially meeting Ringo, that was very humbling.
Yeah, it's mad. I mean, look, that Maiden I'm inspired. Like, does it's means a lot to me. How humble you guys are, like you said. I mean, you wouldn't think you're a real famous rock stars, and you
Well,
treat me like the same as everyone else, which is
yeah, well,
that's massive respect to you, like.
well, you know, the thing is, look, you know, we've all, I'm sure you've met certain stars
Yeah,
that are famous people that are absolutely not the nicest people in the
no,
world. And
no,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I've got to be honest. I take away things my father taught me when I was a teenager, growing up
yeah,
and becoming, you know, learning my. I say learning my trade. I don't read music, so people
yeah,
go, "Well, you haven't learned your trade, have you?" Well, I disagree. But
yeah,
he used to say to me, "Son," he said, "always be humble to those that you meet on the way up, because you never know when you may meet them on the way down."
yes, that's right.
And those were stiff words. And I thought, no, Dad, you know, you know, I understand, but I'm not going to be going down.
No,
But I get your point, you know, that you know,
yeah,
and you know, it's so easy to be, you know, certain time. I read social media posts, and there was something on our website on ironmaiden.com.
yeah,
Some of the fans were saying, you know, oh, who did you meet from the band? And somebody said, oh, I met Nick in wherever,
yeah,
Timbuktu,
yeah,
and he was nasty. He ignored me and he dissed me. Well, sometimes those, you know, you catch people. You know, we're all human beings. It's
yeah.
not
But you mean
necessarily being like I'm being a superstar.
no? You just didn't make
Ignoramus is a good word.
ignorant.
Ignoramus,
Yeah,
right?
it's
You know,
amazing, man.
you know, so somebody's trying to get your autograph or something, and you're in a
Yeah,
hurry, or you know, I want to go number 2, mate. I'm on the way
I
to the
didn't
door.
ever play
You know, they
that.
don't know your personal. It's like, look, fuck off, leave me alone. I'll see you
Yeah, I
later.
didn't figure
Right? Excuse me swearing. Now, those things still happen, but you know, if
Yeah,
you're an arrogant, stuck up, excuse my French again, dickhead,
yeah, that's
and
it.
we know, and you know, we are a band of 6 guys that play and love one another and do what we do, you know, because we love
Yeah,
it and we love each other.
yeah,
And you know, to your fans are where they kind of put us where we're at. We put ourselves where we're at, but our fans, without them, we wouldn't be out there doing these massive arena tours, right?
yeah.
Because
Right.
people wouldn't be coming, would they? They
No,
go,
no,
what?
you gotta fight that.
So you have to be humble. And the great thing about Maiden is after all these years, Rhys, these
Yeah.
guys haven't changed. They haven't
No.
changed a single iota. You speak to Harry, and it's like, you know, okay, people say, well, you're in the band. He's going to treat you different, but he doesn't. I see
No.
this. I see him talk to other people the way he talks to me,
Exactly the
like
same.
as though we just met down the
Yeah.
pub. And you know, it's lovely. So, what was your question? Oh, dude.
But that's the thing about the metal community, isn't it?
It is.
We're all into the same music, really. And
Yeah.
regardless of if you're a performer or fan, we all feel the same way. Like.
Yeah, it is. You know, you're right, Rhys. You're on it. You know, the metal family. It's not just. I mean, our Maiden fans are the most prolific, loyal, best fans in the whole wide world, without a
Yeah.
doubt. And I know every band says that about their fans, and so rightly so they
Yeah.
should, because that is their fan base. Our fan base is a very, very eclectic bunch of guys that love Shinedown, that
Yeah.
love Slipknot, that
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
you know, a whole variety of quoted
Yeah.
inverted brackets. See that little thing I'm doing?
Yeah. Nothing.
And I go, woo, metal. So,
But
yeah, you're right. You know, and it's a kind of Oh my gosh! I mean, there's a brotherhood, and a sisterhood. Everybody that's in this to our style of music. Once you're a metalhead,
I
you're a
said you
metal.
met there forever. You're right.
You know,
Yeah,
so
it is my feeling of family, like it is.
yeah, absolutely. And we always have acknowledged our Maiden family. The immediate family is all the guys that work with Maiden and
Yeah,
put this magic together for us. And that includes the lovely Mary and Dave Shacks and all the team behind the
yeah,
beast. And then you've got the people in front of it, which are all you lot metalheads out there and our fans. And it is a big family. And sometimes, so I guess what I'm saying is my apologies to anybody that may be watching this, that if I've
yeah.
pissed them off, my
Yeah, that's
apologies
all you
here.
like.
But it's not my intention to be a prima donna.
No, no, that's right. I mean, some rock stars let it go to their head, don't they? But
Yeah.
but I think that that's part of the excitement of metal, also. You know what I mean? So you've got these big characters like Axl Rose,
Yeah, yeah.
like Bruce Dickinson, like James Hetfield. You know what I mean? So these guys are iconic, aren't they?
Well, listen, the singer syndrome,
Yeah,
right? They're a different breed.
yeah,
The guy, they're all frontmen, right? I mean, in Iron Maiden, there's five guys up front. They've
yeah,
all got their magic and their moves, and Steve with his leg up on a monitor,
yeah,
machine gun with his bass, and singing the words. But Bruce and Singer and Axel, that they're frontmen. That their job is to control the environment around them. Like
yeah,
okay, without a doubt, when they're singing the songs, that's it. Everybody's doing their thing.
yeah.
When they stop and they're talking to the audience, they have to command a presence, and there's an
That's
ego
right.
to it. I've got to be honest. Way back in Bruce was kind of impossible. In the early '80s and
Yeah,
'90s.
like,
But he was like a bit arrogant, to be honest. Maybe
like
I
yeah,
was
that's the
too,
thing. Yeah,
because the success got to us. But
yeah,
over the years, oh my lord, he's just so. I'm only talking about Bruce. I'm not talking
yeah, yeah.
about anyone else right now because
No, because you
there's
don't.
other
Yeah, it's
people,
great.
with a different attitude,
Yeah,
right? And they've kept that arrogant attitude all the way through their career.
yeah.
But Bruce hasn't.
No, it's definitely
James Hetfield. I think James is an absolute darling guy. Oh darling.
yeah,
No,
no, exactly. Yeah,
yeah, you've got to have a presence.
yeah, absolutely.
As that that front man, that lead, that you're the leader. If you're not the leader, but just my leader, my boss is
Yeah,
Steve. It
yeah, I
ain't
see it.
it ain't Andy, it ain't Mary, it ain't
Yeah,
Pete Dave Shacks, it ain't Pete Lowcrantz, it's
yeah, you
Steve.
listen to Steve, right?
What
Yeah,
Harry says goes, and I'll
yeah,
listen. Not, and he won't agree with you. He'll say he never listens to me, and another thing. Uh,
yeah, but you do.
but yeah, these you have to have a little bit of uh, magic as a front man. Look at Ronnie James. I
Yeah, that's
mean,
right.
what?
Yeah,
I mean, there's a
incredible singer.
classic. There's that classic flip, of an absolute gentleman.
Yeah,
No ego, absolutely no percentage of an ego, but he could command that stage.
yeah,
Just the way
that
he.
voice was amazing. Right?
Oh man, I sorely miss him. He was such a lovely man.
So
I've
you
got.
knew Ronnie, did you?
Oh yeah, Ronnie and I met back in '73 when
That's
he
all right.
played he played the Strand Theatre with
Yeah,
Elf, is the band Elf, and
yeah,
I met him there, and I remembered the very first time I met him how gracious he was, and we had and he loved English ale
yeah,
for an American fella, he was a true beer drinker. He weren't one of these blokes who drank this crap they call beer over here,
yeah, I
right?
know, yeah.
So here is a joke for you. What's a couple making love in a canoe and American beer got in common?
That's it, right.
They're both fucking close to water.
Yeah, that's like it, right. Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, Ronnie was a
Yeah, that's
diamond.
it.
Yeah, we did some gigs together way back, and uh, you know, he used to, you know, get me and Bruce up if we were doing shows and do Rainbow in the Dark, and
That's a good song, man.
I called it Rainbow in the Night,
Yeah,
and Ronnie
same
went,
thing. You know what I
he
mean?
looked at me, he said, Rainbow in the Night.
What's
I should
that?
have called it that, you know.
Prevented it. Like,
But it was a diamond guy. And of course, you know, the band were, you know, Jimmy Bain and I were good mates. I played in between Trust and Maiden. I did a bunch of demo songs with him and Brian Robertson,
right.
called a band called Wild Horses.
Yeah.
And so Jimmy was a good mate. He's sorely missed too. And then, of course, the wonderful Vinny Appice.
Yeah.
Appice. Hang on, I can't remember whether it's Carmen who pronounces it Appice.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Vinny's Appice.
Yeah,
And
like,
they're a pair of them, they're brothers, and one says it one
I
way
get
and
it
one
right.
says
Yeah, it's fun.
So, you know, they were great. Fantastic band. Absolutely great fellows, all of them. And Craig Goldie and all the guys. They were brilliant.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of the legends are passing away, like sadly, and you know that's sad. I mean, like Lemmy Motorhead. Did you ever
Oh,
meet him?
oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, we'd be on the same, you know, over the years we played on the same bills together. Um, Obviously, you know, Mickey D, you know, is a great mate and a fantastic drummer, and Phil Campbell, what a great guitar player. What a fantastic
Incredible.
three-bit. Now, Lemmy, I actually saw Lemmy probably a couple of months. They did a show down here in Florida, and I saw him a couple of months before he passed. And we sat, and he had this, you know, the guy at Iron Man, what's his
Yeah,
name? The film when he had
I
that.
am Tony Stark guy. Yeah,
Yeah, what's it? The actor anyway.
yeah,
And Lemmy had this like kind of pace thing, or not a pacemaker, but he had this external. It
right.
looked like Iron Man, and
Yeah,
he goes, "Look at this! I've got to walk around with this all my fucking life." He goes, and I was, "Look, it's keeping you alive, mate." I said, "I'm surprised. I'm surprised you're still here." You know, I met Lemmy when he was playing with Hawkwind.
yes,
Now that's going back. Holy moly, got to be 70, early 70s. And Lemmy and I stayed close mates for all these years, and uh, yeah, we spent some good times together, and we both had a love for fruit machines, one arm bandits,
yeah, I know.
you know. And a quick story: I was playing with a band called Streetwalkers, and anyway, that time there was a club in England called Speakeasy,
Yeah,
and Margaret Street in London, in the West End, and it was the place. Everybody in the world that came from America and all around the world would go to this. It was a nightclub. It was open till like 4 a.m. And Lemmy, I was playing the One Arm Bandit with my drummer friend from Mahogany Rush, guy called Jimmy Ayub.
yeah,
And we were playing this One Arm Bandit, and it was just upgraded it from a 3-wheel to a 4-wheel.
right.
And the jackpot was 25 quid. Anyway, we had these bars come up, and they were all one line up, and I hit the door,
Yeah,
and it popped open. It popped open. Right, I shouldn't be telling you this story because this is a bit naughty. So I said to Jimmy, I said, "Here, mate," I said, "maybe we can, as we pull the handles, put the jackpot wheel up, you know, finagle it and take the coins out, the coin box at the bottom where the coins went in." So then, just as I've said this to Jimmy, Lemmy turns up. He goes, "Hey, Nick, when am I going to have a go?" I said, "You can have a go when I'm finished, Lemmy, all right?" "Well, in that case, you're going to have to buy me a drink." I said, "What is it?" "Yeah, that'll do." Right, off he goes. So I'll buy him a drink. He buggers off. So Jimmy and I actually, we robbed. What's the statute of limitations to a crime? Anyway, this was back in 73 or 74, somewhere around there, 75. And we nicked all these 10p pieces,
Yeah,
right? And then finally, I said to Lemmy, And we robbed this machine, right? And when we actually managed to, every time you pulled the handle, you had to hold one of the wheels, right? And then,
Right.
while before they locked each one of
Yeah.
them, you could move them. So we
Right.
finagled the jackpot. We only got like 15 quid out of it.
Yeah,
I,
well, it's
I was
better than
actually I was actually saying to the barman, "Oi, you machine stiffed us
yeah,
for fucking 10 quid."
I'm trying to steal it. Yeah, but,
Oh, anyway, Lemmy was like, "Oh, I can't believe you got the jackpot." I says, "Yeah, neither can I, mate." You
yeah,
know.
but,
So yeah, we had a love for fruit machines. Apparently, he took one on the road with him. I said, "What's the point of that? You know you're going to win."
yeah,
He said,
every time.
"It's for idiots like you who come in and have a go and
Yeah, but
put a 10p
you
piece in."
destroy it. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, Lemmy was a diamond guy. He really was. What a fantastic guy he was. He really was a fantastic
Yeah,
guy.
imagine. I mean, his voice like, is iconic, and the way he sings like every year.
Yeah, and
That's why I love thrash metals because of
yeah,
Motorhead, like,
yeah. Because it was the sound of his bass. He had that real
yeah.
distorted, you know, that real sound. And
But
Mickey D.
also drums of
Oh,
Motorhead, like,
oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, Mickey was. I know he come out. I first met Mickey when he played with Dokken years and years back, and he he's a great player, and he's a Swedish guy. You can't beat Swedish people. They're
yeah,
absolutely lovely. I've never met a nasty Swedish person. Maybe
the
Peter
Dollies,
Lowe.
yeah, like,
Yeah, push comes to shove, Peter looks. No, I was only joking. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, and for a country so small, population wise. They ain't got a lot of people. I mean, maybe now, I think they like 15, 16 million folks, but whatever, and for you get all these great sports people coming out. You get ABBA, you get these great musicians, you know, they have a great pedigree, and none more so than Mickey D. And now, obviously, as you know, he's playing with the Scorpions now. So bit
Yes,
of a
that's right.
bit of a change for him, but he's still able to be able to be Mickey when he's playing with those
Yeah, he
guys,
can
and
be himself, like,
they're a great band. Klaus and all the boys. I'm blessed. I've got to be honest. I'm blessed doing what I do because I get to meet these people and watch them playing. And
yeah,
I get
dude,
to meet these heroes that like Eric Clapton. I got to meet him, and
that's metal.
he's always been one of my guitar heroes. Jimmy Page, the wonderful Gary Moore, Jeff Beck, all
Okay,
these
bro,
guys.
yeah,
Oh
incredible
my God,
basis.
Gary was. Yeah, actually, in 1980, about 80, 81,
Yeah,
Gary asked me to do an album. No, it wasn't 80, it was 82. He sat down with me at a party. We were at Caroline Greenwood's party. I'll never forget it. And we were sat in the bathroom and locked the door.
right.
Right. And Gary sat on the edge of the tub. I sat on the toilet, pulled the lid down, sat on the toilet. Gary, we were both pretty out of it, and he fell down into the tub with his legs
Oh,
hanging over the
shit.
edge. And we both had drinks in hand, and he
Yeah.
didn't speak. He just fell back, whacked his head on the wall, went, oh, carried on talking to me as though nothing had happened. And anyway, he said, oh, I'm doing a new album, Nick. He said, I want you to do the drums on it. He said, and I had just got the phone call to join Maiden in 1982.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was sworn to secrecy. I couldn't tell anyone about it. And so I said to Gary, I said, you know what, mate? I said, when do you want to do the album? He says, oh, probably the end of this year.
Oh,
And I said, oh, I've got other commitments, not being able to tell him what they were.
yeah, that's Kevin.
Because
Yeah,
I had to basically sign the official secrets act with Maiden, not to let anyone know. That
yeah.
was one of the prerequisites because they were still touring with Clive. And I said, Gary, I've got commitments. He said, well, what commitments better than And I said, I might be joining the Who, which was a
Oh,
lie, but they were looking, oh, Jones, what's his name? Oh,
right.
Kenny,
Yeah.
right? He ended up having a gig, but there was rumor that they were looking for a drummer. and whatnot. So anyway, I said, "Oh, I think I might be, I might be working with the Rhys." So anything to get away from telling him the truth.
Yeah, you're right to say
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he was a great. What a guitar! I mean, I loved his style of playing, and
Yeah, they
and
were all the
he
great
was one of the
musicians.
best. I mean, you got Joe Bonamassa out there and people like that, but I think Gary Moore was one of the best blues guitar players. I
Yeah,
think
I
he was
really think so as well.
honestly got to say, and I never thought I'd say this, but thinking about it, I think Gary had this real more. He was a lot like a metal blues player. He had this real, it was a great sound, better than Eric. And I mean, Eric was, he was a blues. There's a blues child,
Yeah,
you know. But
absolutely.
yeah,
I mean,
and I got to meet all these wonderful people, mate, and I got to meet you.
thank you, Ash.
Who'd have thought that?
Yeah, you
So
got
so
to meet me twice sooner or
so since we last spoke.
then.
By the way,
Yeah,
boys and girls, Rhys forgot to press the record button the
yeah,
first time we talked. I'm going to 2C Tyler on
I
you
can
now.
say this. Yeah,
So
thank
we had a great chat, and
you.
it didn't get the record. It's his
No,
signal.
this one's just as good. All right, my
So,
last question to you then, Nicko, right?
yeah,
What does metal mean to you?
metal. Oh, metal is everything, mate. Everything. For me, over the last 40 years, most definitely. Prior to that, metal was not my main forte as a player. I was more of a funk rock drummer.
Yeah,
And so metal really kind of got in my blood when I joined Maiden. I mean, Pat Travers was more blues rock, and then I joined Trust, which was my
right.
first real kind of metal band. When I say real kind of,
Yeah,
they were they were heavy metal, and that was my first introduction. Really, I mean, Pat was more bluesy, and I did a few other things in between Pat and working with Trust. So that was my first experience of really getting into metal, and it was like I found this new. It was like an epiphany. It's like a light bulb went off. I thought, oh,
yeah,
this is where I should have been, and because when I worked with Pat, it was a three-piece band,
right.
and so there was a different texture of drum playing when you're a three-piece as well as you've got four or five guys. So I took that and took all what I'd learned through my funk and soul playing
Yeah,
and put it into the metal. And of course that's what it means to me now. It's the essence of my life, and
absolutely.
and
Same
and,
for
and
me.
that's Iron Maiden.
Yeah, that's man. Yeah, thank you so much, Nicko. Thank you.
You're very welcome, mate. I'm glad to see you, and I just have a question for you. Have you
Yeah,
made any music? Have you been making music since I last saw you?
yeah, we have. We started. We're gonna do drummer.
No, yeah, that's right. You were
Yeah,
looking for a drummer. Did you found a new guy?
yeah, we had two auditions last week.
Ah,
Hopefully he will come back. But yeah, we
yeah.
started writing our own stuff though. So we
Well,
moved
that's
away from the cameras and we
lovely.
just started new stuff. So hopefully
Heads
we'll
up,
be
mate.
just
That's
like that.
fantastic. Well, it's been lovely to see you again, and well, let's stay in touch. I will
Yeah,
look
hopefully
forward.
they enjoy it.
Yeah, and Mary's got your details, so we'll stay. Hello, darling. She's back on the
Oh
line
yeah.
now. Thanks for setting this up again, Mary and
Yeah,
Rhys.
yeah, thank you.
My my hats off to you
Cheers,
for
thank
what
you,
you're
man.
doing and the way your enthusiasm, your love for metal, especially your love for me. Of
Absolutely, man.
course, I
Yeah,
am the best looking bloke in Iron Maiden,
yeah,
so
I don't
that
blame
goes
him.
without saying. But I wish you right now. I know that you won't have the film ready, but I wish you a Merry Christmas and
Yeah,
a
you
very
too, man.
healthy and a prosperous New Year. Have a good time, and I look forward to seeing you next year. And
Cheers.
happy
Bye,
days. Be
man.
safe. I'll see you soon.
Cheers,
Take
Nico.
care. Bye,
Bye, man.
mate.
Bye.